Hello, friends and family around the world. This is Will Barney from Enoch Global Services here with another global update on Thursday, June 4th, 2026. So much is happening in our world today. It's getting quite exciting. Today's episode is called Celebrate in 30. As we look at the events that are transpiring this week, we have 30 days until the 4th of July celebration here in America, the 250th birthday of our nation, the day that we declared independence. And we're going to cover some of those items today. It's going to be quite exciting. There is a lot going on, some of it good and some of it maybe not so good, but we need to see it regardless if we're going to change the world. So we're going to take a look at each of those items today. So starting out first here with America 250 posted this. Only 1 month to go until July 4th. From America's block party to giving forth. This milestone is an invitation for every American to reflect on where we've been and take part in shaping what comes next. Take a look at this video. It's amazing.
In 30 days, we mark 250 years. The celebration of a lifetime is almost here.
So cool things going on there, and they're not the only ones that have had something to post today. Secretary Doug Burgum, our Secretary of Interior, posted this. Get ready, Patriots. 1 month until the 4th of July, and a great little video that's kind of exciting. Take a look.
We celebrate our Independence Day.
So exciting stuff going on as we celebrate this. Another great video here from Secretary Burgum. As we celebrate 250 years of American history, the Great American Expedition is inspiring pride, patriotism, and a renewed appreciation for the places that tell the story of our country. Let's take a look. Awesome.
To celebrate America's 250th birthday, the Department of the Interior is launching the Great American Expedition, a nationwide journey across some of the most iconic places in the country. Over the next year, commemorative expedition flags will travel to national parks, wildlife refuges, historic sites, and many other places that tell the story of American freedom and greatness. The expedition is about honoring the best of America's first 250 years while looking ahead to the next 250 years of stewardship, innovation, conservation, and opportunity. And we want all Americans to be part of it. Get outside, explore America's public lands and waters, learn the stories of the people and places that shaped this country.
Isn't that exciting? Kind of makes you want to get out there and take a vacation this summer, right? See some of the beautiful countryside that is part of the United States. Amazing things going on there. Donald Trump had this to say about the coming celebrations. On Wednesday, June 24th at 7 p.m. in magnificent Washington, D.C., now totally beautified and one of the safest cities anywhere in the world. And in celebration of our country's 250th year history, we will be bringing you live the greatest rally ever. It will be a special at every level, a rally to end all rallies. We don't want singers with no talent but big fees to put you to sleep. We've told them to stay home. All we want is you, me, a few speakers, and the greatest music ever played. The same music that you have listened to for years. We will have a fabulous Lee Greenwood introduction to me, which has turned out to be one of the greatest hits of all time, God Bless the USA, and the amazing Christopher Macchio, who will sing Nessun Dorma, Hallelujah, Ave Maria, God Bless America, and others. Not since the legendary Luciano Pavarotti has there been such a voice. The rally will also be featuring the wonderful U.S. Army Band, Pershing's Own, and the Armed Forces Choir, and the President's Own United States Marine Band with the Joint Armed Forces Chorus. All of your favorite hits, plus a fine and highly dignified gentleman known as President Donald J. Trump. So big rally coming on the 24th of June. We have that to look forward to in 20 days. Donald Trump also posted this, a very big thank you to the National Capital Planning Commission on the 8-1 approval of the Great Triumphal Arch to be built at the base of the Arlington Memorial Bridge, which has been waiting for this structure for over 200 years. When completed, it will be, without question, the greatest arch of them all. President Donald J. Trump. So we showed in previous podcasts within the last 2 weeks some pictures and photos, simulations of what that arch would look like, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be incredible. So as you cross the bridge from Virginia into D.C., the arch will be there to greet you at the end of the bridge, which will be fantastic. Donald J. Trump posted this. The fountain was dedicated more than 100 years ago in 1912, and after it stopped working in 2007, Obama and Biden let the fountain fall further into decay. There was a significant work required to bring the fountain to functional. The first photo below is what the Columbus fountain looked like after it was vandalized under Biden. It looks horrific. Look at the before picture. Wow. The other pictures that show what it looks like now under Trump. The Carrara marble from Italy is so clean that it looks freshly quarried. Michelangelo's David statue, arguably the world's most famous marble statue, is made of Carrara marble. And, of course, it looks very beautiful. Everything's been updated, and the fountains are flowing, and looks quite great. We actually posted in the last podcast, if you didn't see that one, some video of the Columbus Memorial, and it's right there at Union Station, which is fantastic. Our great warriors who fixed and rebuilt the reflecting pool, President Donald J. Trump. Exciting, the final coat of protection will be completed on the reflecting pool that sits between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial at 4 p.m. today. The water will start flowing. Shortly thereafter, the walking paths outside the pool will likewise be cleaned, sandblasted, and finished soon. This will be the first time since the day it was built in 1922 that it has worked and worked wonderfully indeed, President Donald J. Trump. And here we have a little bit of video of the water being turned on just this afternoon at 4 o'clock. Take a look. So that's going to be amazing. That dark blue color should really reflect the Washington Monument very keenly now, kind of give some contrast to the reflection. I think it's actually going to be a great color. Lee Zeldin had some things to say about the greatness of America and things that are going on, particularly in Florida with the restoration of the Everglades. It's a big priority from the Trump administration to restore the Florida Everglades, a key environmental and economic treasure in the state, delivering 120 billion gallons of clean, fresh water each year to the Everglades, bolstering the aquifer drinking water and combating harmful algae blooms. Let's take a look at this video here.
So I love what the administration has done in terms of the Everglades restoration. I know the Trump administration celebrating 500 days in office today. And this morning, giving Florida Everglades agricultural area $2 billion. This is being called the largest environmental restoration in American history. And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis told me about it on Sunday. Watch this.
I mean, look, we've had inflation, we've had population growth, but look at Florida's state budget. We're doing massive things. Everglades restoration is the largest environmental restoration in the history of the U.S. Massive infrastructure investments, increasing teacher pay. We're doing all of that, and yet we're still reducing our overall budget. So it can be done. We've worked very good with President Trump. He's been amazing for Florida, just on Everglades. No one even talks about it, and it's literally the biggest restoration in history, and that would not have been possible had he not supported us.
Tell us about the Everglades restoration, Lee.
It really is a big deal, and it proves that you can protect the environment and also grow the economy. The Everglades are so important from the environmental standpoint. You have 36 endangered, threatened species, including the Florida panther. To be able to deliver 120 billion gallons per year of fresh water to the Everglades is important. It helps with the benefit to the aquifer and for millions of Floridians with their drinking water. It helps to combat harmful algae blooms, and this investment, which is substantial. You're talking about multiple billions of dollars of federal investment and also a reduced timeline. It really checks all of the boxes of cooperative federalism at its finest. Federal government working with state and local on an important environmental and economic priority for Florida.
So great things going on in the state of Florida. Thank you, Lee Zeldin, and all the team there that making these things possible. In financial news, we were taking a look at some of the pricing here on metals. The silver chart today showed $73.88 on the COMEX. This is interesting. If you look at the chart here displayed, this is a 6-month chart, so you can see back at the end of January, leading up till now, silver was peaked at $120. We're now at $73. What's interesting is if you go back 12 months from today, it's still up almost 100% from a year prior. So it's incredible the moves that silver has made lately. The thing I wanted to highlight here is that this is an incredible opportunity when you think at silver at $73. President Trump signed an executive order in January saying that he wanted to have a price floor put into place to protect some of these critical minerals. Silver was chief among them. The price floor is designed to create a price at which it's economically feasible for miners to mine for silver, get it out of the ground, not as a secondary metal like we're seeing today, but as a primary concern, a primary mineral to actually go after this metal. This is going to be very important as we get into advanced technology and patents that are going to be released throughout the country. And all of these new advanced technologies are going to take some silver in them. Currently, all of the silver production in the world, 60+% of it is now going to manufacturing processes, whether it be high-tech circuit boards and chips and other such things. And so we need additional supply of silver. If silver was all sitting in vaults everywhere, well, you could retrieve it and move it forward. But what we've seen is a deficit of silver buying has exceeded the supply for 6 years in a row. I don't think this price is going to stay there for long. We're hearing that price floors could be somewhere between $200 to $300 an ounce, making it economically feasible for miners to get this product out of the ground. So it still looks like an absolute incredible buy opportunity for silver if you can get some. So very interesting. As we move over to gold now, the gold chart today was showing 44.6780. Again, we're looking at a 6-month chart going back to the first of the year. You can see it peaked out there at 5,500 an ounce. We're now down $1,000 from where it was at its high in January. Now, what's interesting about this is that's an incredible buy opportunity once again. We don't see that gold's going to fall much further because there seems to be indicators that there's going to be a coming day when gold is repriced. And the reprice is about putting a value to gold that is going to be sufficient to cover the new currency that will be issued, expected to come from the Treasury. We're hearing from various sources that the price of that gold could be somewhere in the neighborhood of close to $20,000 an ounce. That provides that the current stockpile of gold has enough buy capacity at that price to offer enough currency to fill the needs. So if that's the case, right now you're $1,000 less than it was in January. Great opportunity. It looks like in gold, silver and gold, both looking like buy opportunities right now. It's not looking like these are going to fall much further, as there seems to be a pretty hard floor placed under these, holding them steady. As you can see there in late March and early April, it dipped to 4,400, then bounced back up. Now it's back to the same level. But as you noticed, we didn't really go much below that. So it's looking like gold's kind of seen its floor. So it's looking like it's only an upward movement from here. So a great opportunity for those of you still looking to secure your investments. The coming changes that come with a financial system when one system dies and another one is reborn is always difficult. It usually comes with price corrections, usually in a downward direction on many different materials. However, there seems to be lots of indication that won't be the case in metals. So it's looking like that is the safe haven. And if we look at the numbers of purchasing, whether it be from governments, central banks, and even individuals, metal still remains a top investment priority right now for those trying to get through an economic transition from one point to another. And looks like the buying opportunities remain incredible. In other news about the Clarity Act, we had this video that came out. Crypto in America actually shared it. Our Eleanor Trevitt and Senator Loomis talking about whether the August recess was kind of a deadline to make sure that the Clarity Act gets done before the August recess of Congress with the Clarity Act. And let's listen to what they had to say.
A real deadline for clarity, or do you think the bill has enough momentum to survive into the fall and still become law?
You know, I think it has a lot of momentum now. The fact that it came out of the Banking Committee on a bipartisan vote, and now we're getting lots of support from the Treasury, from the White House. We have money in it for FinCEN, so that would provide an opportunity for more work in law enforcement to prevent illicit finance. These are the kind of things that give it the momentum to keep us going. Now, it's true that the banks are pushing back still, even though they may not have seen or read the more current drafts, which we hope will solve the problems that they raised earlier in opposition to the bill. So it would make some sense to move forward as quickly as we can, simply so we don't lose momentum.
I would agree with that. We wanted to see the Clarity Act passed in May. Here we are in June. And now we're wondering if we're going to get it passed by the middle of July. The sooner this gets done, the sooner the new financial system can be secured by law and order, paving the way for new currency to come. So there's a variety of things that need to be done. This is one of those that is an important event. The Treasury has indicated it wants to issue new currency and has made those announcements towards the end of March that they hope to have President's signature on new bills by the 4th of July. His face, however, being on a bill is a different matter. There seems to be a law in Congress that a living president cannot have their face on the money. So this is going to be interesting to see if Congress takes up this issue and changes the law, allowing a sitting president to perhaps have his face on the money here in the future. I think that's an issue that needs to be addressed, as well as a Clarity Act, to begin seeing this new currency that's been talked about. We do know that designs are in the work. Official designs have not been released to anyone. The only money that we've seen out there trading hands has been AI generated. We've shared a couple videos and pictures of that, but we're hoping to see some official designs coming soon here in the future. Energy and manufacture are being released in the United States. Donald Trump and his administration seems to be on a tear to get these ramped up in a big, big way. As we look at the first item here, the Treasury Department had some reporting to do in Congress this week. Scott Bessent said a whole of government approach, meanwhile, is coupling our manufacturing revival with the great regulatory reset. Let's listen to what Scott Bessent had to say here. He makes some very good points that are actually quite encouraging for the country.
The whole of government approach, meanwhile, is coupling our manufacturing revival with a great regulatory reset. Properly calibrated regulation is essential for economic growth, capital formation, employment, and higher wages. So at the outset of this administration, President Trump set the ambitious benchmark of slashing 10 existing regulations before issuing a new one. In 2025, we shattered that goal with a ratio of 129 to 1, and as a result, the regulatory actions generated more savings last year than in those of the prior Trump administration combined.
So that was actually good news, as regulation is being clawed back, allowing business to thrive again, removing the roadblocks that have been in their way. Again, he said just last year in 25, they reduced regulation so much it exceeded the entire previous Trump administration. Those are big numbers, very big numbers. He went on to say here, POTUS is undeterred in his determination to open markets for U.S. goods and services while rebuilding U.S. manufacturing capacity. Over the 12 months ending in March of 2026, the trade deficit for goods declined by $370 billion compared to the same time frame the year before. Take a listen.
Is undeterred in its determination to open markets for U.S. goods and services while rebuilding U.S. manufacturing capacity. Over the 12 months ending March 2026, the trade deficit for goods declined by $370 billion compared to the same time frame ending March 2025. The economy has added 313,000 net new private sector jobs and 13,000 manufacturing jobs in the past 2 months. Firm capital expenditures rose at an annual rate of over 17% in the final quarter, and companies are investing trillions to build and expand here at home. American industry is winning again to the benefit of American workers.
So big investment going up 17% capital investment into business expansion and enterprise. That's in the fourth quarter of last year, and that's been exceeded I believe here in the first quarter of this year. So big stuff going on there for America. U.S. Department of Energy posted this. President Trump's agenda has been entirely focused on growing the supply of energy to push prices down and bring more jobs to our country and bring wages up. Let's watch this video.
Absolutely want to drive energy prices down. America's energy dominance agenda, President Trump's agenda, has been entirely focused on growing supply of energy to push prices down, to bring more jobs to our country and push wages up. So absolutely, we feel that as we come out of the other end of this Iranian crisis, prices will come back down. In the long run, they'll be even lower because we've removed this major threat to energy supplies, which is a heavily armed and hostile Iran ensconced in the Middle East. They'll still be there, but their ability to cause trouble and mess with energy markets and terrorize their neighbors will be massively reduced.
So he makes some very valid points there, and I want to focus on this for just a second. This is what we're witnessing here is a restructuring of energy supplies and markets in the entire world. Why is this important? It's important because President Trump and his first administration, while he was at his inauguration address, talked about thousands of patents, advanced technology patents that he wanted to release and bring to we the people. Well, when you look at these technologies, a lot of them have to do with high-speed computing, quantum computing, AI, and a lot of this other integration that makes these advanced technologies possible. What do all these require? They require chips, which we got new factories being built. They require circuitry. They require energy to power that massive amounts of energy. So what have we seen over the last 16, 17 months is the Trump administration pushing energy at epic levels. Today, the United States is now producing more than double Russia and Saudi Arabia combined. It's the largest output ever in our history, and they're not stopping here. They have used the Defense Production Act to reactivate oil wells off the coast of California to bring energy into that state. So everything's being redone. They're working on Alaska right now to bring oil flows out of Alaska that can supply oil to Eastern Asia, places like Japan, Philippines, etc., and even to China. So this is interesting because China was getting 60% of its energy from Iran. They were getting some percentage of its energy from Venezuela. But what do these countries have in common? They were both supported, upheld by the cabal, and they were both selling oil to China at below market rates. This was putting China at an unfair advantage to the rest of the world, which they've been using to expand their industrial base and become this manufacturing powerhouse. This was all strategic, as they wanted the United States to crumble and China to take over. Why? Because the powers that be, the bankers that have supported these regimes, are the same ones that run the control grid around the world. And freedom isn't what they want. They want to support communist regimes because they want complete and utter control. So now the energy is being rebalanced. It's going from China and it's coming back to the Western hemisphere. So what's happening here is you've got an incredible opportunity. America's ramping up that energy supply. They're telling every one of these data centers and AI centers, build your own power plants. Don't draw energy off of our grid. We want you to add to it. This is incredible if what you're watching. This means that the U.S. has the opportunity to advance in that state of technology and once again become the leading player in that space. And as these advanced technologies come out, things like zero-point energy, things like anti-gravity, and other stuff comes forward, you're going to see a move towards these advanced technologies. The administration has already begun dropping hints, opening up the psychological minds of everyone in the country. Here's a good example. Last week, I showed how they dropped some videos, about the little green men aliens, right? But it all leads you to a website that's not about little green men. It's about people that are bypassing the ports of entry into the country and coming here illegally. Both are aliens, and the White House is having some fun with this topic. Well, why? Why throw out the recent declassification of videos and files regarding UFOs or UAPs, whichever you want to call them? Because this is preparing the minds of the people to accept what's coming. Why start a new branch of the military called the Space Force? What is this preparing you for? It's preparing you for new technology that's not new. That we've had black ops going for 80 plus years in the background with all the advanced technologies, flying saucers, craft that landed into Mexico way back in the 1940s. You think that's been sitting there and nobody's doing anything with it? The reverse engineering had to be done. The problem was in the 1940s, we didn't have the computational power to actually make that doable to duplicate. In other words, create more of it. Today, we're in a different world. Quantum computing, advanced chips, and everything that is taking place today now makes it not only possible, but very doable to duplicate this technology and make it more mainstream. So by the administration putting these things out there, opening the minds, they think it's going to be easier for the people to accept the idea that we got this advanced technology from aliens off planet than to accept the fact that it was being withheld for the last 60 to 80 years. It doesn't matter which way you want to look at it. The reality is it's coming, and ramping up energy production and energy capacity, which took place just today as Donald Trump opened up multiple states for coal mining operations, again, to bring more energy online, electrical energy that's going to make a difference in all this. And we're going to show some slides about that. It all correlates together. We're in a race. The countries with energy and technology win the race. And that's what's going on here. And we're seeing this play out dramatically. So what happened with Venezuela? What happened with Iran? This has curtailed energy supplies predominantly to China, who was looking like it could overtake the rest of the world. And it's giving the U.S. a chance to come back as a superpower in the technological phase. Very fascinating. And now China's having to send ships to America to fill up with fuel, not at discount rates, at market rates for oil. Very fascinating what we're seeing. Big stuff going on, and it can't be understated. We are in one of the most incredible times in history to be watching this play out. Nick Sorter shared this. Just in, President Trump signs an executive order invoking the Defense Production Act to save 13 coal plants across 10 states. I just talked about this. Biden tried his hardest to close these plants. Trump's rebuilding them better than ever. Let's take a look at Trump's comments here about these coal plants.
Today we're officially invoking the Defense Production Act to save 13 coal plants in West Virginia, Kentucky, North Carolina, Indiana, Tennessee, Arizona, Arkansas, Oklahoma, North Dakota, and Wisconsin. These were incredible plants, so productive, really producing a lot of the electricity, right? The electricity, and it's really the best at that. You know, when they find something better, Chris, I think we'll be all set for it, right? But they're a long ways from finding something better.
Coal's critical.
And so when you look at that, those states, West Virginia, Kentucky, North Carolina, Indiana, Tennessee, Arizona, Arkansas, Oklahoma, North Dakota, Wisconsin, what do they all have in common? Trump won them.
Wisconsin, but you're
I won every one of them by a lot, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even mentioning Pennsylvania, which we won also, right?
Yes.
But we won them all. We won all 50. We had an honest count, if you want to know the truth. Our action will allow these facilities to invest in upgrades that will extend their operational lives for decades into the future, reinforce the reliability of our electric grid, which is really the biggest beneficiary, and most importantly, keep electricity prices very low for the American people.
So there's this is big. It's big because, you know, I have people email me all the time and say, well, Will, we've got 0 point energy and everything. Why don't we just do that? Why don't we just release the 0 point energy and the free energy devices and everything else? There's a reality to this. And here's reality, folks. You have to manufacture these devices. You have to buy them, install them, get them into place. We're talking about years of transition from coal and oil into what's coming in the future. Yes, it will change the dynamics of energy in the future, but it takes time to build, manufacture, and install all of this. So it's not something you can snap your fingers and boom, it's there. We're going to build it one plant at a time, one device at a time, install those in various places, and the world will be better going forward, but it will take us some time to get there. So we need to be realistic about the timeframes. Donald Trump posted this. I am appointing the Director of Federal Housing Finance Agency and Chairman of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, William J. Pulte, to serve as Acting Director of National Intelligence. William has deep experience managing the most sensitive matters in America, the safety and soundness of the markets, and over $10 trillion at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, a substantial increase from where it was just 12 months ago. During this period, he will remain the director of the Federal Housing and Finance Agency, chairman of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and congratulations to Director Pulte, President Donald J. Trump. Why is this important? Isn't this interesting that the one man that for the last 16, 18 months, okay, we're going towards 18 months, that has been in this position, what has he been able to do? He's been able to look at all the mortgages. He's been able to look at all the politicians taking out the fake mortgages. You know where there's a house worth $600,000, but the mortgage on it's 1.1 million? What is that called? It's usually called a payoff, right? Allowing these different financial transactions. He's been able to look at all those. In fact, just a week ago, you had a member of Congress complaining that Pulte had looked at his mortgage information, and he was upset by it. Pulte never denied the allegation. Now he's going to have access to all the rest of the data. Donald Trump had some interesting things to say about Bill Pulte, and take a look at this next video as he talks about this. Listen to what he's saying. This is about to be huge. what an acting director can do. Why? Because an acting director of D&I doesn't need congressional approval. They can push everything through immediately without Congress, get it done. So even though it's a temporary position, there's so much that can be done in a temporary position. Take a listen to Donald Trump.
He built it up a lot, did a great job. And it's an acting position. It's not a permanent. He's not going to be permanent because, I don't think he'd want to be permanent. But he's a very smart guy, and he may find out some things about the rigged elections, et cetera, et cetera. I think he'd like to do it. I think he wants to do it very much, got a lot of energy. But he'll be very good. Again, it's not a permanent position. Right. We're interviewing people right now, but it's somebody just to take it over for a little while.
Take it over for a little while, but he wants to do it, right? He wants to look at the rigged elections, et cetera, et cetera. What do you think Tulsi Gabbard's been doing all this time? Now she's on her way out at the end of the month. The stage has been set. The foundations have been laid. Justice is coming. Justice is coming for all the crime, the corruption. And we're going to get into that next as we look at fraud, waste, and abuse continuing to be exposed here in America. The first item I wanted to take a look at was the press conference that was held just today in Ohio, where you had Kelly Loeffler. Here she is talking about Small Business Administration. She says, today I'm here to announce suspensions of over 27,000 Ohio borrowers tied to $1.1 billion in suspected PPP loans. That's a payroll protection program and all the fraud that came out of those programs. Listen to what she had to say. I was actually surprised at the numbers.
Businesses are our biggest job creator in the country, but they're also our nation's biggest taxpayers. Like every taxpayer, they deserve to know that the programs that they pay into will be there for those who need them, not siphoned away by fraudsters who would rather steal from hardworking Americans than become hardworking Americans. Since day one, the SBA has focused our efforts on the Paycheck Protection Program, which will go down as one of the most defrauded federal programs in American history. During the pandemic, our agency delivered $1.2 trillion that was meant for small businesses, of which the Office of Inspector General deemed $200 billion was stolen, including right here in Ohio. The Biden administration chose to look the other way, giving criminals de facto amnesty at the expense of your taxpayers. But this administration is choosing accountability. Last month, the SBA referred 560,000 borrowers to the DOJ and Treasury. That's over 500,000 borrowers to start collections and prosecutions for $22 billion in suspected PPP fraud. To date, we've announced suspensions for 140,000 borrowers across California, Minnesota, and Maine, totaling $9 billion. And today, I'm here to announce suspensions for over 27,000 Ohio borrowers tied to $1.1 billion in suspected PPP fraud. As you've heard today, this task force is exposing the fraudsters, making them return what they stole, and sending them to jail. The Trump administration will uphold law and order and not protect criminals at the expense of honest, hardworking Americans. This administration is putting up new guardrails for the future, and we will go state by state to correct the past. I want to.
It's amazing what occurred today. What she just mentioned there was over $200 billion in fraud on the PPP program. I know there was legitimate businesses that needed that program, but we're talking about people that weren't legitimate businesses, so they were defrauding the taxpayers. It's an epic scale. It's an epic scale of this fraud. Moving on to the next subject. 3 major announcements for healthcare in Ohio. Suspending 49 Ohio home healthcare providers who've been identified as high risk to the Medicaid program. granted a 6-month moratorium for all new home health care services and hospices in Ohio. And CMS, Governor, and Ohio launched a state-specific Medicaid fraud and war room and arming all states with information about high-risk providers. Take a listen to what Director Oz had to say about what they're doing to combat this fraud in Medicaid and Medicare.
The moral indignation that the president feels, that many of you share, prompted the creation of the task force. Many of its members are on the dais today. Vice President Vance leads that endeavor and has boldly been able to create an all-of-government effect. All of government doesn't just mean all of federal government, it means all of state government as well. And I'm here representing Secretary Kennedy and some of the work that we've done looking at the numbers that are coming out of the federal government. Because the budget of CMS is large, it's $2 trillion roughly, it means it's a big target. And foreign players and maybe even foreign governments have been taking bits and pieces of this pie for a while, but they have been weaponized. And we see that here in Ohio, and we're speaking about the frustration that many Americans feel, left and right of the political spectrum, and certainly red and blue states both are experiencing this, which is why it was important for us to be here today. I was here last week with members of the CMS team, and we came because we're investigating home health care fraud, autism fraud, and a series of different ways that the federal government is being pierced with different arrows from criminal elements that desire to suck taxpayer dollars out of the federal government and out of state government coffers as well.
So big news is they are pulling back the money. They're holding and they're looking at ways to stop this waste, fraud, and abuse. Kash Patel weighed in on this as we talked about the fraudsters. And somebody emailed me the other day and said, why do you keep talking about all the fraud? We need to see it so that it never happens again. We need to understand what's been done to our nation so that we do not allow such things to ever occur in the future. Kash Patel had something to share here, talking about creating a new 10 most wanted list, this time for fraudsters. Take a look.
Thanks to Vice President J.D. Vance's vision. He had an idea. He said, hey, you guys have a top 10 most wanted list for all gangbangers, terrorists, narco-traffickers, murderers, and rapists around the world. How about we have a top 10 list for most wanted fraudsters? So, Mr. Vice President, thanks to your vision, we're here to deliver, and you see it here today. It is live officially on the FBI website. I want all Americans to take a look at these most wanted individuals and look at the amounts, the tens of millions and billions of dollars in fraud that they have decimated our societies from. We rely on you. Our best form of information is the American public. Take a look at this top 10 most wanted. Let us know any information. There is no bad piece of information. The only bad piece of information is the one you don't give us. So call 1-800-CALL-FBI or go to FBI.gov and help us apprehend more fraudsters.
So this is incredible, the work that's going on. We're going to get rid of all this fraud. Now to California, where fraud has been going on epically for a long time in many different ways. Again, this is financial fraud. Take a look at this from Nick Shirley.
Right here is another example of fraud, waste, and abuse here inside the homeless industrial complex here inside of California. This hotel used to be a Ramada. In 2020, the state of California bought it for $8 million. It is now 2026, and this hotel is not even nearly close to being finished. And to finish it, it's going to cost $20 million, and it's going to be used to house 32 homeless individuals here inside the state of California. So per person, that is going to cost upwards of $625,000 per person, and there is nothing to show for this hotel right now. That just goes to show how bad the system is, where in its own state, in its own city, it takes up to 6 years after they purchase it to even make any sort of progress. I mean, this is all the progress you're seeing here inside the state of California. It's a little crazy. And so you would think after 6 years, the state of California would have more to show for $8 million and now $20 million to be invested into this building. 6 years later, this place has had hardly any work done to it, and it's still years out from being completed. That is just another example of fraud, waste, and abuse here inside the state of California.
Incredible that a building you can buy for $8 million, but have to put 3 times that into it to refurbish it. $625,000 per homeless person to house them. Does that make any sense? Do you see in these numbers? Is that not incredible? Over $500,000. This is insane what we're watching. We've got to stop this. It's insane. Let's move on to Europe. Now, last week, or actually just a couple of days ago, I shared some stuff over the weekend about how Paris was burning. If you guys remember this, and how the people there were creating all kinds of ruckus, burning stuff in the street. Over 120 some odd people injured, some of them in critical condition, fighting for their lives. This time, a different part of Europe. This is from Brussels. Unbelievable. Belgium, now in having visited Belgium and the people there, they're just wonderful people. It's hard to imagine the Belgian people engaging in this kind of activity because I don't think it was the Belgian people doing this. Concerned citizens said this. Meanwhile, in Brussels, Belgium, hundreds of foreign migrant gangs are currently rioting, attacking shops and businesses, police while burning things in the streets. This is the home of the EU, which has embraced cultural diversity more than most. This is the end results. Take a look. This scene reminds me a lot of what we saw during 2020 here in America, of what the Democrats were calling the Summer of Love, which was the George Floyd riots. Isn't it amazing what we're seeing there in Brussels? So heartbreaking to see this kind of activity taking place. Dr. Malouf shared this. Belgium, Brussels currently looks like a war zone. This is the capital of the European Union. 88% of the population under the age of 20 is of a foreign origin, and over half is Muslim. What did Europe do to itself? Take a look at this video. For those of you here in America, doesn't this look a lot like the Antifa riots? Remember when the George Floyd protests broke out and Minneapolis was burning to the ground and the people did nothing to stop it? The leaders and the mayor, the governor, literally did nothing. Now we're seeing the same thing play out in Europe. My friends that live in Europe, please don't allow this in your neighborhoods. Please don't allow this to take over. It's just unbelievable what we're seeing there. Shifting to Germany now. Germany is losing its international relevance. Germany, for the first time in its modern history, failed to secure a seat on the United Nations Security Council, receiving only 104 votes. Portugal and Austria were elected to the council instead. This is amazing. Take a look.
Number of votes obtained, Portugal, 134. Austria, 131. Germany, 104.
It looks like Germany under this progressive liberal government is just crumbling in its relevance. They're just not able to hold the tide back. Also in Germany, this, Wall Street Apes posted this. I verified this, and it's true. Germany can no longer raise an army simply because of how many Muslims are now German citizens. Listen to what this guy had to say about why this is a problem in Germany.
Germany can no longer raise an army simply because of how many Muslims are now German citizens. Now, allegedly, and I will say allegedly here, Germany's Chancellor Merz has privately admitted that he's worried about the country's ability to raise an army simply because Germany doesn't want to put weapons in the hands of hundreds of thousands of Muslim Germans. And he'd be right in worrying, because a recent study of young Muslim Germans showed that nearly half expressed latent Islamist attitudes, which are, you know, the kind of attitudes that turn Muslims into terrorists. And more than half said that their religious commandments were more important to them than even German democracy. And if you ask me, these don't sound like the attitudes of Germans. These sound like the attitudes of Germany's enemies.
So incredible what we're seeing around the world. This is a wake up. Are you waking up, everybody? Have you heard the call, heard the truth? Have you figured out that most of what you've been sold is a pack of lies? We have to preserve our nations. We have to preserve our heritage, our culture. And unfettered immigration, uncontrolled, has been destroying countries everywhere. Donald Trump has taken a very hard stance on it here in America, and he has shut down the borders almost exclusively. And it's amazing how well that's working. He's giving an example to the rest of the world. You need to do what we've done to save your country. Coming out of the UK here, we have to have a little fun. It can't ever have everything be so heavy and concerned about riots and fires in the street. A Declaration of Means posted this. The average Tuesday in America. Listen to this British fellow talking about what he's watching here.
Big females around here somewhere. There's a mating pad right here.
This is why we can't mess with America. As a Brit, I genuinely cannot process this. In the UK, if we see a fox walking slightly too confidently, we're calling the council. Americans, though? Nah. You know what this situation needs? Physical contact. No. And why is nobody asking questions? Only an American would see a deadly predator and think, I could tackle that. He's doing this in a country where they pay for healthcare. In Britain, we queue politely. In America, they're suplexing wildlife. Why is he diving onto that snake like it owes him money? Even the snake looked confused. I wouldn't jump in that water if there wasn't a snake. That looks like it contains medieval diseases. I'm pretty certain Americans don't avoid danger. They just add background music to it. Because that man dived onto that snake like he was defending the Super Bowl. I've got to give it to you. The confidence is incredible given the circumstances. Because that snake was longer than most British roads.
So a little bit of fun there from this fellow from the UK. Thank you for a little bit of humor for us today. I thought that was great. More vote fraud? Let's take a look, particularly at the state of California this week. Unbelievable. Look what's happening in California as Donald Trump posted this. The Democrats, right before our very eyes, are stealing the vote. I hope the Republicans are watching so that they can finally pass the Save America Act, ! President Donald J. Trump. Going on to say, I believe we have the most dishonest elections of any country anywhere in the world. President Donald J. Trump. Let's take a look at this. Now, Laura Ingraham has Steve Hilton on. Steve is running for governor of California. And now it's officially been nearly 48 hours since California poll closed, and nearly 4 million votes, or 42%, are still left to be counted. Steve Hilton has exposed it all. Take a listen to what he said about what's going on with this corrupt voting system in California.
That there they had different buckets they were supposed to put the ballots in after they come in after election day, and they were explicitly told it didn't just have to be a postmark that was on or before Election Day that qualified. If the date was handwritten, that would be okay as well.
Did you? So you could just take an envelope, write Election Day. Don't even write the date, just write Election Day. It counts. So until we have a full and complete investigation into California's mail-in ballot counting, their vote processing, their chain of custody, all those buckets, we the people will have serious doubts about whether the will of the voters in California is being respected. The lack of transparency, it's obvious.
This is something that cannot be understated and exemplified enough around the world. We're learning now that 72 nations, the United States included in those numbers, of the world have had their government stolen from the people because of vote-stealing technology and voter fraud. We have Maduro from Venezuela in custody. I can promise you, he is giving all the names, all the countries, who was all involved in using that system of vote fraud. And we will get to the bottom of this. But it doesn't look like America is in any position with all of this going on to even have a proper election come November of this year. We're going to have to see how this plays out. Some claim that because this hasn't been corrected yet, we may have to delay the election to fix it. We'll have to see how that plays out. Eric Daugherty posted this, holy crap, straight from the Oval Office. President Trump says Democrats are cheating in California and stealing the election. Let's listen to what he said.
On cheating in our elections. And you see it happening in California. Those numbers are coming down rapidly. They found a lot of mail-in ballots last night, shockingly.
Yeah, a lot of mail-in ballots suddenly. And now it's going to take them days. They're claiming 7 to 10 days to count the remainder of the ballots. Elections used to be the same day. It's unbelievable that not that it's occurring, not that people are trying to cheat. You shouldn't be surprised at that. None of you should be. It's amazing we allow it. It's time to put an end. It's time to stop this nonsense. Il Donato Trumpo couldn't help himself. He had to post this meme about this whole mail-in ballot thing. No more mail-in ballots. Pass the Save America Act. In the background, you see drop boxes to drop ballots in, all in the street burning, much like we saw from Brussels. Take a look at this video. I thought it was quite exciting. So we're going to have to stop the vote fraud, and we're going to have to end that for certain. We're coming to the end of our program today. But to have a little fun, of course, Il Donato usually has something that's a little bit fun there. But to have one more to share with you, because we can't all be so serious that we cry. We need to have a little bit of humor in our lives as well. Baby News Network posted this Father's Day gift of the century. Take a look. Quite fun.
All right, folks, a lot of people have been asking about what's on my desk. Very popular question, so let's go through it. American flag, beautiful. Nuclear football, very powerful. Never had to use it, but it's there. And this, the most important item in the Oval Office.
Sir, we need to discuss is that new?
MAGA Daddy. T-Rex in a red hat. Barron got it for me. It outranks you, Marco. Don't take it personally.
Sir, the Iran deal is...
Flip it around. Read the back. Out loud.
Thermostat guarding 999%.
Now you understand who you're dealing with. Nobody touches my thermostat. Nobody touches my mug. Same energy, same rules.
Can we please talk about Iran?
After I finish this Diet Coke. It tastes different in this mug, Marco. More patriotic, can't explain the science, but it's real. The link is in the description. The dinosaur sells out first, so get one before Rubio tries to steal mine, which he won't, because he knows better.
I don't want your mug, sir.
That's exactly what someone who wants my mug would say.
So with a little bit of humor there, folks, as things are going very exciting, very fast now. 30 days to the big celebration here in America. We're at the end of our program today. It's going to be fun as we celebrate the birth of our nation. I want to address a couple of things here in closing. One is everybody wants to know, when the 4th of July comes, are we going to have the complete reset and everything happen and new currency and everything else take place? I wish I could tell you that our sources are telling us that's possible. I think what you're looking at is going to be very similar to what happened in 1776, because on the 4th of July, they signed what's known as the Declaration of Independence. This was an official declaration to the world that America was an independent country. It was the beginning of what would be the independence of America, not the conclusion of it. There would be 4 years of war that would play out before finally everything had come to a conclusion. There would be another 4 years trying to get the Constitution fully ratified. We're not going to be 4 years, okay? I don't want anybody getting too crazy about that. But I think what's going to happen is the 4th of July is going to be a marker for the launch of the ending events. Will we see a new currency in July? I don't know, because we need to see the Clarity Act. We need to see some of these other things done. Very importantly, like let's change the law so the president can be on the new bills, etc. This is all important if we want to have things play out the way that it's suggested that it's likely to play out. From the 4th of July to our next election day in November is 120 days. If you read the NASARA documents, it says that you need to plan 120 days minimum to run an election. If things aren't ready by the 4th of July, meaning elections are safe and secure, if we're still seeing what we're seeing in California, I don't know that we can have elections in November, because the next elections are not going to be done fraudulently. That's not going to be allowed going forward. We are done with that. We need to have the Save America Act passed. We need to have a way to secure. And I think what we're headed towards is a place where the president may have to declare a national emergency because of the fraud and put us under a period of martial law to set the stage to have a proper election. And that election would be to reset the government following the mass exposure of all of the fraud. Why is this important? The fake elections and the fraud, when that's dumped, whether Tulsi does it on her way out the door or it's done by Bill Pulte, it doesn't matter. When this information comes out, what it's going to show is that probably 80% of the people in public office were not elected to those positions. What kind of ruckus does that cause? It may be such a ruckus that we have to go under martial law to bring peace and to prepare ourselves to reset the government properly. We have a lot coming. Oh, I mentioned 2 podcasts ago that it was the calm before the storm. Trump posted this the middle of May, meaning that the calm is over now. We are now in the storm. But as we look at the storm, if you look at major storms, hurricanes, typhoons, this kind of thing, they rank them by categories. And a category 1 is usually at the entry level, and it goes all the way up to a category 5. Category 5 is ripping everything to shreds, okay? The wind levels are so high. I would say we're currently somewhere around about a 2-ish. And there's a possibility we will get to 5 or 6 before this is over. So my friends, buckle up, be prepared for some very intense things over the next few months as we get through this process. This is necessary. It's necessary because we need to see the corruption. We need to see what's been done. We need to correct this so it can't be done again, so that we can actually have a country. The battle must be won here in America. It's the last frontier of battlefield. If America loses, there's no hope for the world. But we won't lose. We cannot. And we've got God on our side to help us. So we're going to charge through this and we're going to get this done. Whether we get new currency in July or we get it in August or September. When we get that, we can begin the transition. I don't expect the Federal Reserve to be chopped off and just cut off in a day the moment we have new currency. That would be irresponsible to do that and would cause major catastrophe in our economic markets. But if the Treasury can issue new currency and give the people a chance to begin to convert, to move over to the new system and learn it and understand it, we will have what we need to have. I do think that as we look at the new Fed chairman that's over the Federal Reserve, Kevin Warsh, that I think he's going to move to lower rates, lower interest rates. And I think that move is really going to be a move to ease what is the pain of switching financial systems. Every time in history that this has been done, it's been hurtful. It's been hard for the people. It gets better on the other side, but going through that is still difficult. So I think that there's going to be some moves made to ease some of that pain as much as possible to get through the transition. So we'll probably have a period of time where we have two currencies. We have the new currency and we have the old currency. And we're going to be dealing with those. So be of good cheer. Get ready to celebrate. This is going to launch a whole series of events when this day comes that's going to lead to a complete reset. Financially, it's going to be a reset educationally, a reset medically, a reset almost of everything. It's going to look different. We have an opportunity to reseat our original republic that has been abandoned for the corporation and sitting in cobwebs. We have this great opportunity to reset that. And that would be absolutely amazing for so many ways. I might talk about some of those in the future, about what our history's been and why it's so different today and what we need to do to sort that. So we'll look at that in future episodes. But from all of us here on June 4th at Enoch Global Services, we're so happy to have you with us today. I hope this information's been good for you. I hope it helps you to expand your horizons, to understand we are getting things done. We are building our future brick by brick by brick. We don't get to snap our fingers and it's done in a day, but we keep moving forward and we keep building this, and we're going to have something magnificent and incredible. We will have a golden age, and that golden age is about to begin as we launch with the 250th celebration here on the 4th of July in the next 30 days. Watch what happens to bring in the golden age with full force and with unbelievable prosperity and freedom for the world. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Thank you all for being with us again tonight. You all have a most wonderful weekend. Hope you enjoy yourselves. Try to get your mind off of some of this stuff. Go out, enjoy your families, walk in the grass, take your shoes off and get grounded, and enjoy the fact that you are alive today to witness, to be an eyewitness to all of these incredible events. They are so filled with significance. Never in history of the earth has there been events that have affected the entire world at one time, such as we're seeing now, except for maybe the Great Flood and Noah. This is amazing. You're here now for a reason. You're one of the great ones. So if you've woken up and you've heard the call, thank you for standing in your space, for standing in truth and being a light, an example to those around you. Your neighbors will need it as we get further into the storm. They're going to feel emotionally turned and tossed and spun around and not know what to do. And your calming voice will help them to get through this as we all land on the other side, because where we go one, we go all. Good night, everyone. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.